The Ruthless Aggression Era. Man, what a time to be alive. The era that everyone goes back and reference. Now everyone who's 23 to 30 years old, this was our time in wrestling. This was our golden age, our attitude era. This was simply the best time in wrestling. I need everyone to sit back, go grab your popcorn and your Pepsi or your Coca-Cola and join me on this ride to a time back where things were simple yet fun. I'm Camilo Salamander from WBPTV, and this is why the Ruthless Aggression Era was so great. Without further ado, let's cue that intro. Now I know some of you are watching this saying the Ruthless Aggression Era. No, it's the Attitude Era. Well, as someone who experienced both eras, this is why I believe the Ruthless Aggression Era is the best. If you was born in the late 90s to early 2000s and love wrestling, well, this era is the reason why. No other wrestling era made me feel like a kid, cause I was one. My older family members used to argue with me on why the Attitude Era was better, and trust and believe, we're going to dive deep into that era in a later video. Was this era perfect? Well, no, we still face some of the same WWE bull that we see today. Could they get away with these things today? No. They showed things like babies getting kicked, Michael Cole being raped, the whole Eugene character, and oh yeah, who can forget Vince dropping the N-word every now and then?
Take care of business. Keep it up, my nigga!
I understand that this era wasn't that great from beginning to end, but it had its moments that live in everybody's minds rent-free. I loved and grew up with the Fifth SmackDown, and of course there was the A show for me. For one, it came on regular TV, and regular TV was popping back then. Raw was always on cable, so to me, if you watch Raw every week, you were just bougie. One thing that Raw still do to this day is open up with a 10-minute promo, only this time without Triple H.
You're watching SmackDown, and just 1 week away from the sneak preview of Gary and Mike on UPN.
From 2002 to 2008 was the Ruthless Aggression Era. During this time, WWE, they had an amazing roster. Oh my god, they had Rene Dupree, the Spirit Squad, Val Venus, what? Oh, my fault, this is the wrong page. They had The Undertaker, Edge, Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar when he actually wrestled, Chris Benoit, Prime John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels. Man, I could go on and on. These people made the roster very unique. You had stars from the 90s mixed in with the new faces of the 2000s. We also saw legends come back like Mick Foley, Goldberg, and Hulk Hogan to no sell. Oh yeah, and Ric Flair. Now, I really don't care if he was 50, 55, at least I can say I grew up watching the Nature Boy Ric Flair. In 2022, looking back, we was blessed to see Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle wrestle on a weekly basis. This introduced us to a brand new generation, the new faces of the WWE. For an example, we saw John Cena become an icon, and we saw Batista come from Deacon Batista to the Animal. Like seriously, what the hell was this? This was an era where everything mattered. Like everything that was shown on TV had meant something. From rivalries to matches, they all mattered. Match types like Hell in a Cell and TLC matches was booked to settle a rivalry, and not just because Vince says, oh, let's have a TLC match and name the pay-per-view TLC. Cause why? Fuck 'em, that's why.
Why? Why treat the customer this way? Why? Because fuck 'em, that's why.
You remember when championships mattered, or when the Money in the Bank was a WrestleMania opener, and on top of that, it was used to put the next star in line? WrestleMania build-ups was A1. Hell, the whole damn show was a classic. This was an era that birthed the Elimination Chamber. Who also remember Taboo Tuesday, Judgment Day, Vengeance, and Armageddon? I feel like this era had more talent when it comes to matches, and matches from this era was better than the matches from the Attitude Era. The Ruthless Aggression Era had gave us more classic moments like Edge leading the way and showing us how a cash-in is supposed to work, Chris and Eddie winning at Mania, John Cena's first WWE Championship win, Batista choosing to stay on Raw to face Triple H, Brock and Bishop breaking the ring, and the super kick heard all around the world. Then on top of that, Vince McMahon blowing up. Ooh, we're not supposed to talk about that. The SmackDown vs. Raw rivalry really meant something. GMs was something that mattered. Hey, y'all remember when Raw would open up and at the end of the intro it showed Eric Bischoff's face? SmackDown had a player himself, Teddy Long. The commentary team was out of this world. Everybody who was on the commentary, they really seemed like they was close friends. You know, Raw, they had the legendary JR and King, and SmackDown had Taz and Michael Cole. Raw being on Spike,
Get the cards, the charge from my generation. I'll take the
and SmackDown being on UPN. You can't tell me this wasn't lit. As a wrestling fan who witnessed both the Ruthless Aggression and the Attitude Eras, I can say the Attitude Era had better wrestlers and storylines, while the Ruthless Aggression Era had better matches and wrestling talent. Both was amazing in their own right, but man, when I tell you that I'm so lucky to have witnessed them both. But I will tell you what era was better than them all. The PG era.
I started with nothing and came out a king. I've been the one that's been ballin' for rings. It's been me and my team and we chasing the green. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free.